We gonna get some study.
Yes. The deals to have fun on the spot.
What if I gotta sneeze? Audio there?
Are we there? Okay.
I think you good. I think you good. Oh, no, y'all.
This nigga.
Oh. Oh, like starting down now.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just-
No, you just talk. We just talk.
Too much pressure on me.
All right. So again, welcome everybody to episode, what is it, 3 of Youthful Conversations. This is our 3rd episode of our Guilford County school tour. We have been at 2 schools so far. We have been at Andrews last week, and we have been at Southwest yesterday. So this is our 3rd episode. Today we have a wide range of youth from representing the School of Andrews. We have young people all across the board. I was gonna say old, but y'all ain't old. Yeah, y'all ain't old. So we gonna go across the board. Everybody's gonna introduce themselves, name, age. I don't think we gotta say school because y'all all go to Andrews, but name, age, and something you do outside of school. Oh, just go down. Whoever wants to go.
Hello, Adam Reed. 17th birthday's next week. But happy birthday. Nobody. All right. Something outside of school. I write a lot. I do a lot of public speaking outside of school. So, yeah.
Hello, my name is Daniel Rios. Something I do out of school, I'll say probably like hoop. That's probably most what I do at school. I play basketball. Facts.
What's popping, y'all? My name's Ty Gibson. I'm 24, will be 25 April 3rd, coming up next. Is it next week? Weekend? Around the corner. And I'm an actor, comedian, social media personality. Okay, I'll introduce myself. My name is Jeremiah Jett. I'm the host and founder of Useful Conversation, an award-winning podcast. I go to the Point College Prep in Jamestown. Something I do outside of school is use AI. I love using AI.
My name is Janiyah Milligan. I'm 17, and something I do outside of school is helping the community. Either that's with fundraising events down to just community service.
My name is No. I'm 17 years old, and outside of school, I listen to music, Beyonce, to be exact. So yeah.
My name is Jemiah. I'm 17 years old, and outside of school, I run track. That's it.
All right, so I have I think it's 8 or 10 different topics and questions. Eight topics with 2 different questions each. All my topics were sourced by students at Andrews. I had the pleasure of meeting with, I think, all 5 groups: ladies of Andrews, men of Andrews, and it's like 3 other groups. I don't know. Sorry, but I do have questions, and they're all sourced from you guys. So we're gonna hop into our first topic. So our first topic is personal growth and success. My first question is, how can students balance academic responsibilities with their personal lives without feeling overwhelmed? And anybody can start. There's no order.
I can start with that. It's, in my opinion, I can only speak for myself, but I believe balance starts with focus. Everything has a purpose, and you have to know your purpose. So question yourself, why are you in school? Why are you doing the things that you're doing? And once you understand that, it's easy to balance. And then there's small things that you can do. Like me personally, I have an app on my phone where I write down everything I'm going to do in a day. So I make sure I have my schoolwork done, my sports stuff done. And after that, I speak with my friends, balance my social life as well. So I think it's about focus and using the correct resources, especially with technology and all the stuff that we have today. Oh, I'm done. My bad.
Well, I'll go and jump in. For me, I would say it's all about prioritizing what's, I would say, more so progressive in the moment. Because when I was in school, I've been doing social media since middle school. And so middle school, high school, all the way through college. And so it was all about knowing that I'm not going to be in school all my life. So I know that's going to be one thing that's always moving. And so I put that on the front runner, and then I, fell back and started doing what I love to do, which is social media. And so it's just all about figuring out what's most important in that moment. Not saying that your career aspects and your aspirations are not important. It's just all about making sure in that moment, what is the most thing that's going to be moving in that moment. And so just prioritizing that. I'll go next. I personally hate school. I think college is a scam. I hate high school. I just hate school in general. But the way I found to balance it to where you can still do the things you want to do, but have success in school. Now, just because I hate school, I'm not dumb. Like, most people that say they hate school, they got not as bullying. Most people say they hate school, they just aren't being as successful as they can be in school. For me, you got to do it in a time that's best for you. I personally hate school. So when it comes to an assignment, I'm going to do it on the due date a few hours before it's due. So like if I have an assignment due at 11:59 on Sunday, I'll do my assignment on Sunday at 7 o'clock because I just don't want to interrupt my week. But I found different techniques to make sure that I'm still studying so I can pass my classes. So there's this one study break. It's called, I think it's called like the 5-minute rule, where like you do some kind of studying for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or however long you need to do it. And then you take like a 5-minute break. So I'll study for 45, 30 minutes, however, and then I'll go eat for 5 minutes, or like I'll go play the game for 5 minutes. I'll just go do something else outside of school for 5 minutes to make sure that I'm still having fun, but I'm getting my work done. So make sure you find ways, including fun, into doing something that's not really fun. But that's the way I do it.
I feel like you really need to have like good time management. And it's really important to know when you need to take breaks. Because we can get so tied up into doing stuff and we really don't have, time for ourselves. And we get like so stressed out. And so taking breaks are really important because you can take a break and then be like, oh, I'm gonna go back to it. So having good time management and taking breaks, I feel like that's really important.
I would say, me personally, I prioritize like the most important things first, and then the least important things, I'll do that. I don't study or anything. I do it the day of because like I don't like doing schoolwork. But I say just do what you need to do most importantly first, then rather than the least important things first.
I would say like having a good schedule and like knowing like what you need to do like on a daily basis. If you already have it planned out, you should be one step ahead. So therefore, like you're not really being overwhelmed by anything due to, knowing what you need to get done. And if there is a shakeup in your schedule, you can always like fit that and incorporate it to where you still have, like she said, your own time and time to get stuff done.
Basically what Danelle said, like time management. Me personally, since I'm an athlete, like after school, I got to immediately do like basketball, work on that, stuff like that. When I get home, like I like prep my mind and body. Like when I get home, I take like a 20-minute or like 30-minute like break to myself. Then I like go into my work. Then I'll take a break, 10-minute break, then go back into my work. Me personally though, I don't study. I just like do my work because some people, they don't really need to study, but like I'm trying to break out of that because I feel like in college, I think I'm gonna definitely need to study. So yeah.
Also, we have mics, so like if anybody in the crowd has anything to say, you can just ask or like raise your hand, and we'll give you a mic to say anything. If you ever have like the urge to add input to the conversation, just want to put that out there. But I'm also gonna say I'm gonna add something else to the topic. Use your resources. Don't cheat. There's a way to use your resources without cheating. I use AI avidly, like in everything I do. Even my podcast is AI, but you can use AI without cheating. Like you don't have to get AI to fully do your homework assignment. You can get AI to help you study for tests. You can get AI to give you study cards and flashcards to help you study for the test instead of getting it to answer your test. Like you can use your resources to the best of your ability. We're in a digital age. We have technology that people have never seen before. If you have it, it's there for you to use it. Make sure you're tapping into all your resources that are available. So if that's AI, Google, friends, teachers, tap into everything because you need as many resources as possible. So that way, you know, you'll succeed. All right. I think that works. Our next topic is relationships and social dynamics. How can students build strong relationships while maintaining self-respect and self-love?
I'll start again. Well, like I said, it's going to be a theme of everything that I say throughout the podcast, but everything is going to start with you. I am a firm believer that before you try to enhance yourself with relationships with others, you must enhance a relationship with yourself. Talk to yourself, ask yourself questions. Are you happy with the current state you are in physically and emotionally? And once you believe that you can look yourself in the mirror and be happy with who you are, relationships, they come easy.
I'll answer next. I say, before anything, remember you are the biggest advocate for yourself. In a relationship, no one can advocate for you more than you can. You know what you're willing to take. You know what you're willing to endure. You know what you want from somebody. You know what you want from yourself. When you go into a relationship, it is two people, whether it's relationship, family, friends, no matter the relationship, it's two people striving for a goal. Always make sure that that common goal is stated and communicated effectively. We have miscommunications a lot in relationships because we just don't communicate with one another. Make sure you're setting the boundaries for yourself. Make sure you're advocating for yourself. So that way you're not disrespected in a relationship, firstly. And then secondly, you're not disrespecting somebody else in a relationship. Nobody wants to go into a relationship feeling disrespected. Nobody wants to leave a relationship feeling like, oh, I was disrespected by this person or that person. No one wants to feel that. Always advocate for yourself and know your limits. If someone's disrespecting you, leave. That's friendships, that's family, that's any relationship. If your parent is disrespecting you, I'm not gonna say leave the house, but like you could walk away from the conversation. You can go to your room and just figure it out from there. But always advocate for yourself. Don't just take anything because you're a human being. They're a human being, and you don't just deserve anything. You deserve respect. You deserve love. You deserve all the good things that a human being needs.
I would say, now that I got it, have to think about it. I would just simply say don't settle. Just to kind of piggyback off what you just said, like, you know you best. And so don't sit out here and try to, emulate or be someone that you're not called to be, especially in a relationship. And don't try to conform yourself to meet that other person's standard. Because if they're not for you, they're not for you. And that's just the end of the day. So be yourself and be your authentic self from jump. That way it'll be an organic relationship as it grows. And like you said, you know your limits. So don't try to sit in a situation where you're not being served well. Like when you're not served well, I'm about to leave the group chat. So don't sit there and just think you got to put up with other people's opinions, whatever they got to say. Just move on. And I promise you, your community and your village will grow based off you. But don't sit down and settle for just anything and anybody. That makes sense.
Well, I feel like it's so easy to lose yourself in a relationship because you're trying to better yourself for that person and then better yourself for yourself. And the self-love part, that's an inside job. Can't nobody teach you how to love yourself but you. And I feel like it's important to first have a relationship with yourself by having self-love. And don't try to change yourself for that person. So, yeah.
I say that in relationships, you need to communicate. Like, if there's something that you feel like that person's doing or something, just communicate. You need to speak up. Like, don't just let them talk to you crazy, or if it's something that they're doing that you don't like, you need to communicate. And like what she said about self-love, you need to know you before you can go off and like do something for a person or like be this person with somebody when you can't even be good for yourself. So
I think before you fully call yourself committing to someone in a relationship or even being in a relationship in general, you should like set boundaries with the person and like make sure that your goals and their goals meet up with each other, and that what you're doing or what you guys are doing in the relationship is beneficial to both partners, and so that you guys don't get steered the wrong way. And if it is something that is throwing you off, communication is always a major part, because with communicating you can know if they like something that you're doing or so forth, or just anything in the relationship in general.
Yeah, I feel like you have to know yourself more. Truly know yourself before you can even like starting to get into a relationship. I think you have to communicate. You definitely have to communicate. Support each other. Definitely support each other too. Good ways and good ways. Negative though, I don't think. Nah. Negative. I feel like if negative things keeps happening over and over and over again, I don't think you should put up with it. Don't settle yourself for less. It's nothing wrong with moving away from others that's continually bringing negative vibes towards you. I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
I think y'all touched perfectly on our second question. What are the best ways to resolve? Wait, actually, before I go into that, I want to ask the crowd. Does anybody else want to add input on that question? I can repeat the question again if y'all need it. How can students build strong relationships while maintaining self-respect and self-love?
Just remember, I guess you got to remember at the end of the day, you're just yourself. I say, even relationships, think of it like a business. You benefit each other. At the same time, you still yourself a business. Shoot.
Okay, I'm gonna go into our second question. What are the best ways to resolve conflicts and communicate effectively with peers?
I believe the best way to handle any type of conflict with peers is something called passive confrontation. Now, when we think of confrontation, we think of fights, arguments, yelling back and forth, cussing each other out. That's not the case. That's not how it has to be. Me solving a confrontation may be just me telling you how I feel, and then me hearing how you feel, and then we can go about it and come to somewhat of a common ground to maybe agree to disagree, but make sure our feelings are both being heard. That's the important thing about resolving conflicts without it getting to a space where a relationship has to be destroyed over something that's not necessarily important enough to destroy it. It goes back to what everybody says about boundaries too.
I feel like to solve conflict, you have to let go of your pride, because nobody wants to be wrong. Nobody wants to back down first. But, to get over certain things, you have to. And so, it's okay to back down and to speak up. Just let go of your pride.
I feel like you need to be able to take accountability and admit when you're wrong. Like, you need to talk. You need to be able to understand the person, their feelings. You may not agree with how they feel, but that's how you made them feel. So you need to be able to understand them, be able to communicate those feelings.
I think before you resolve any conflict, you have to be able to be mature about any situation that you're in, because whether you are right or wrong in the situation, you have to think about someone else's perspective on it and how they might feel, and just come to your senses that, everybody's not you, and you have to work around what you have, and everything is not always going to go your way. So you have to be mature enough to know that you are in the wrong, or you could have did something better in this situation.
Yeah, you have to see each other's sides of the stories. Don't just go off what he say, she say. I feel like you really got to communicate so it doesn't get into like destroying the relationship, like Adam said, because I'm pretty sure you want the relationship to benefit you and your life. So yeah.
And with all that in mind, you just got to simply listen too, because a lot of times you tend to react first, and then reap the consequences later. But if you listen and understand what's going on to try to figure out how can we move past this situation, that's going to be better for you versus you trying to just escalate the situation and regret what you did later. And if you're that type of person that can't confront somebody head on right then and there, know that it's okay to leave some breathing room and then come back. Don't think you have to address it right then and there. Because, I mean, the fire could be so hot to where it's like both of y'all ain't hearing nothing. So it's okay to de-escalate the situation and revisit it when y'all both calm down, can think it through, and then move forward. Because ain't no point of fighting fire with fire. You'll never resolve anything. So
Yeah. I would say understand that communication is much more than what you say with your words. Communication is so much more than what you just say with your words. It's how you sit in a chair. It's how you talk to people. It's how you move your head when you talk to people, how you move your hands when you talk to people. It's how you move your eyes, your body language, your nonverbal cues. Communication is so much more than just the simple stuff that come out your mouth. Any of y'all ever been in a classroom and the teacher's like, why you disrespecting me? Anybody ever been like that? I raised my hand first and nobody else gonna say it.
back in my day.
I've been in the classroom where the teacher said I was disrespecting her. But after I talked to the teacher, she said, I thought you were disrespecting me because you were slouching in your chair, not listening to me. When you're slouching in your chair, that gives off the impression that I don't care what you're talking about. I'm just here. You got to pay attention to all the stuff that when you're communicating with people. So when you're talking to somebody, you can't just go up to them and be like, hey, I feel this. And you can feel that I'm saying the most positive stuff with my words. But if your body language is off, or if your energy is off, or any of that's off, they'll pick up on that and be like, he disrespecting me. Why I gotta listen to him? Why I gotta listen to her? You gotta pay attention to all aspects of communication. So the way I think the best way to resolve conflicts with communication is to learn how to effectively communicate. Because once you learn how to effectively communicate, you can talk to anybody in the world. You can talk to the most angriest person. You can talk to the saddest person. You can talk to the deaf. You can talk to the mute. You can talk to anybody once you learn how to communicate effectively. And you learn that it's much more than just what comes out of my mouth. It's what I do with my hands, what I do with my body, what I do with my eyes. Everything that you do goes into how you communicate. So making sure that you're watching that is going to be so instrumental to solving conflicts with so many people when you communicate with others. Anybody want to add anything to that? Or anyone say anything in the conversation? I know I keep asking, but I really value the input of you guys. Like, this is for you all. So I really do, if you guys do have something to share, would appreciate it, because this is, again, for the young people at the school. So just keep that in mind. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, communication is important, but also you gotta get.
If it's red, it's not on. It should be green.
So I do feel like communication is important too, but you also have to be able to have comprehension. Because if you're not comprehending what the person is saying, you're basically going to talk to the wall. So not only do you have to listen to the person, but you have to understand every other environment to what they're saying, so you can understand it and take it into your head and just think about it. Like, yeah, you also have to comprehend, like, when you're talking, or you're not comprehending.
All right. My next question goes into the category of school and education. You could just put that up there on the table. I don't know if she's coming around to get it. But my next question falls in the category of school and education. How can schools better prepare students for college and career opportunities?
Public school in this instance, a high school like Andrews or Southwest, is taught under a specific curriculum, which means what I learn is going to be the same thing that you all learn. But it differs because I'm from a different place than you all. Some of you grew up in different spots than I have, or just complete different people, or learn different ways. So, and also I think it's also what's in the curriculum too. You know, I know geometry, but yet I don't know how to pay a bill, right? There's certain things that need to be spoken about, I believe, in the school curriculum that should better prepare us for adulthood. There's going to be a lot of high school students who are going to graduate this year, who are going to leave Andrews and have no idea what they're doing. I think in order to fix the issue, I believe together the entire education and curriculum system needs to come up with a way to better teach people in individualistic ways, but also teach us ways to better ourselves as adults rather than just test takers, rather than just who gets all A's or who gets all B's.
I would say that I think the school system needs a general update. If you look at a school from, I don't want to go too far back, like 1960 to 2025, the schools look almost exactly the same. Some schools might have different changes, like you might have a different class, but generally all schools are the same as they were in 1960. But if you look at today's world, and then you look at the world of 1960, you would notice that it's two different worlds. We live in an age of technology. Don't quote me on it. I don't know the world they lived in because I'm not that old, but I'm just gonna say they lived in a different world. From the world of 1960 to now are like two different ball games, right? I think we need to adapt. I think schools need to catch up to today. They need to teach kids how to be better prepared for life. Like, your name's Adam, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I think the school needs to teach kids life skills, like Adam said. Kids need to learn how to talk to each other. Kids need to learn how to pay a bill. Kids need to learn how to, when they go to college, how I'm gonna select my classes. Because if you don't go to GTCC, you're not gonna know that when it's time for you to select your classes, you got to email your counselor and you got to register for your classes. I really think that high schools need to do a better job at preparing kids and young people for life instead of just preparing them for the workforce. Because not all of us are just going to go work at McDonald's. Working at McDonald's is not a bad thing, but not all of us are going to do that. Some of us are going to be entrepreneurs. Some of us are going to go into trade school, whether that's HVAC, plumbing, hair, nails. All of us have different paths. All of us want to achieve different things. And I think schools need to update and be able to adapt to kids that want to do different things and not just go the traditional route.
I agree with both of y'all. Schools, they definitely they definitely need to teach more life skills, because I feel like what I'm learning right now, I'm really not gonna like implement when I get older. So it's important to know how to communicate with people. It's important to understand your emotions. It's important to have emotional intelligence. And a lot of people don't have those things because they're not teaching it. And so that's why they're not prepared when they go out into the world. And so for them to be more prepared, schools just really need to update the curriculum and start teaching life skills.
Okay, I just want to make sure the flow was clear. I know for me, a lot of the things that I ended up learning, like how to, send the email and how to properly, do certain things and handle business, I learned through experience. And so if I would have had those career readiness type of courses in high school going into college, I probably would have had my head set on a higher standard and higher vibration. I probably felt more comfortable moving into like a college setting. Because when you're in college, you're really out there like, that's like the true first step of adulthood. You're on your own. You know what I'm saying? You got tuition, you got to go get yourself up to class. You got to do all these things that your parent and a teacher is not going to be down your back telling you to do. And so when you step out into these places, you have to be grown enough or mature enough to, take that on. And so I know for me, when I graduated high school and college, when I graduated college, I'll speak from that point, there was a course that was implemented within my theater department that taught you how to, fill out a theatrical resume, how to have your documents together, your headshots, all that. Because as an actor, you need all that. And so I was like, if I would have took that course before graduating, I would have felt even more comfortable going out of college with my degree, knowing that, okay, I know how to do X, Y, and Z. That's the basis of the basic. But like I said, I learned a lot of that already beforehand through experience. And so, if they implemented more courses like that, I would have felt more comfortable. Because let's be honest, y'all taking math class, y'all not gonna go to no store and be like, yeah, let me look at the Pythagorean theorem on how to do this. You're not fixing to implement that. Let's be honest, okay? So let's just be real about it. Let's try to make it make sense. And if you're going to implement math, okay, people need to know how to count. I need to know how to count my money. I need to know how, when somebody else is handling my finances, okay, do I know how to count my own money? You know what I'm saying? There's things like that that's going to help your business and your brand prosper versus you just learning formulas and equations and you're not really going to use those equations in real life. And so it's just all about making it make sense and bridging the gap. And I think that will set a lot of y'all up for success. And there should be no reason why that's not in place now with the way the world is progressing. There's so much opportunity out there that should be tapped into. That's not, so in due season, I believe it will happen.
I think outside of the academic portion of it, more so like the discipline part, I feel like nowadays everybody is just like being suspended and sent on for a couple of days and come back and can do the same thing, as opposed to like sit down with the students and really get the two students who might have fought each other and see like what is the real issue. Because later on in life, if you want to like be something that involves communicating with people, it's not a higher authority going to always be there in the moment to like diffuse the situation. So you have to, as a person, like know how to communicate with one another and just how to really maneuver around the real world. Because like I said, it's not going to be, go home for a couple of days, come back, because that's not how it is. And I just feel like they should pay more attention to that, because a lot of students take that and, just continue to do what they do because I guess they feel like it's okay or that nobody's really caring. But if people were to take more time into like seeing what the deeper issue is, because nobody's just gonna come to school and act up for no reason. It's obviously bigger than what people on the outside see. So definitely looking towards more like getting people involved with stuff inside of school, helping them stay out of problems, could also help like people going into college so they know what they can expect.
Oh, we good? Anybody else want to add something? Make sure it's green.
So I think that back to what Adam was saying about the curriculum, the teachers, all, I think that like it's kind of a problem that the way that teachers don't have as big of a say as I think they should when it comes to teaching the way they want to, because they're doing they kind of like have a certain criteria, a certain way they have to teach this class. But I think the teachers might, if they're teaching, the ones teaching it, they should be able to have more say over how they teach the class, and like because their way of teaching might be more effective than maybe just bringing out of the book every day or something like that. They might want to have more discussions or things like that, but they can't because they're required to go through a certain criteria and things like that of teaching the classroom. I think that should kind of be fixed up.
Yeah. I also want to add, I don't want to make it seem like we're bashing like the schools or the teachers. I also think the students and the young people in schools need to take some accountability as well. If you want to be prepared for life, YouTube University. Everything's on the internet. You can learn on the internet. Am I saying that schools are perfect? No. Am I saying that everybody can do a better job? Yeah. I think all young people could do a better job at being prepared for life. I think schools could do a better job at preparing us. And I think young people should take some accountability that if a school is not teaching me something and I want to learn and I want to know it, I'm going to take accountability for my education. Education is much more than school. You can go on the internet. You can go talk to somebody. You can go network and find somebody who knows the skill. There are so many ways to learn whatever you want to learn. You just got to take accountability for it. So I think outside of just bashing the schools, I think some students need to go out there and learn what you want to learn and be the person you want to be. I'm going to ask this next question, and just a little FYI, I think this question could get a little deep. So just keep that in mind when I ask the question, okay?
Okay.
What impact does the absence of a Black father have on students and how can wait? What does the impact of Black fathers have on Black men and Black females? That's how I'm asking the question.
Well, I can speak from the male perspective. When you take away a father figure out of the Black household, it can affect specifically the male to a great extent. You have to take this into a factor. We have great mothers everywhere, great Black mothers everywhere. However, at the end of the day, male psychology is different. And what I mean by that is there are certain things that a male can speak to his son about that a woman might not be able to. And that's not knocking any woman. That's just because of the fact that Black men understand certain topics, they understand certain things, and they've been in our shoes before. One statistic that was very interesting, a Black boy without a father in the household is almost 9 times more likely to end up in prison. And that statistic just shows the effect without me even having to say anything else. And the thing is, it doesn't have to just be fathers. I mean, we want it to, obviously, right? But sometimes all a male needs is a positive male role model. That might be the case. It gives Black men the opportunity to speak to somebody that they can actually converse with, that might actually understand their emotional trauma and the weight that is on Black men to succeed. And for the women, I'll let them speak. I don't want to speak for them as well.
It can, the absence, it can impact confidence, your emotional resilience, and relationships even, because you don't have that father figure to validate you, and you could look for validation in unhealthy ways. And so and even just because your father isn't there, that doesn't make you any less worthy. And so just making sure that doesn't define you. Don't let it define you, because it doesn't.
I feel like a lot of young females that don't have a father in their life, they seek love and they latch on to dudes or guys because they don't have no dad to love them the correct way. So most of the time they go to guys, try to get them to love them, and they don't, and then they just settle for that. I feel like most females without their dad, they just feel well, if my dad's not here, they don't love me. Why would a dude want to be with me, basically? So I feel like they feel less of a person sometimes without their dad. Because me personally, before I got close with my dad, my dad was not there. And I always felt where's my dad? Isn't that But once I got in touch with him, started getting close with him, I understood, and it's I know what I deserve, basically. I know what I need, you know what I'm trying to say? So, yeah.
I would say
It's kind of hard.
the impact of a Black father is it has such a strong effect. We can look at it from systemically, we can look at it from in the household. There's so many different lenses you could look at, the absence of a Black father. The angle I'm gonna take on it is 2 different angles, and I also have personal experience with it. But systemically, if you can take the man out of a household, the leader of the household, because they say the man is supposed to be the leader of the house. So if you could take the man out of the house, and then you can have direct influence on the mom and child, that is, they say systemically, that is the easiest way to conquer people. Because now that you don't have a leader in your house telling you, we shouldn't be doing that, we should stay on this path, they can come in and just teach you anything, and you will run with it, because you don't have any other thing counteracting that. You don't have anything saying, nah, I shouldn't do that. You don't have anything being nah, that's not right. All you hear is, well, I mean, this option is here. I don't have no one telling me not to. So why not try it and see what happens? So systemically, that is the way they are taking over households, specifically in the Black neighborhood. So by doing that, they have taken fathers out of our households and started taking over families and trying to separate our community and making us weaker. But from personal experience, I would say if you have a strong friend group, you have a group of people, whether this is girls or dudes, whichever gender you are, if you have a strong group of people who are there with you, they may not have similar experience with you or similar backgrounds with you, but you have a strong group of people who believe in you and who love you dearly. And not that fake love where it's like, I love you on Wednesday, but I don't love you the next day, right? You want that genuine love from a good, strong group of friends where it's like, I'm gonna love you consistently and I want you to be the best you can be. Like, you need those kind of people. And when you surround yourself with those kind of people, even if you don't have a dad, because I didn't have a dad, well, that makes it sound bad. I did have a dad, but he was absent. I just didn't have communication with my dad for like the first, I want to say what, 7 years of my life, somewhere around there. Somewhere around there, I had him for that period of time in my life, and I was clinging to everybody. I was walking up to people, well, not really walking up to people, but if I found love, I would cling to it and not want to let it go, because I'm like, this is my taste of love, and I don't know what it feels like. And you're giving me a sense of love, even though I don't know what it is, and it makes me feel secure in some way. So I clung to it, and I didn't want to let it go. But when I found my group and I found my people, my group is like 4 or 5 people. I don't hang around many people, 4 or 5. But those people have pushed me to be where I am today. They have guided me. They have loved me. They have made sure I'm not going to do nothing stupid because they genuinely have my best interest at heart. So even if you don't have a dad, or if you don't have a mom, a female figure that you look up to, a male figure that you look up to, find some friends who you can look up to, who you can pour into, and they can pour into you. So that way, all of you guys in that friend group can be the best y'all can be. That is the way I found to cure the absence of a father for me.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I know for me, definitely still have my father to this day. And so, like, in our household, not to give too much detail, but like, things weren't always good. You know what I'm saying? Things were rocky sometimes, and things were good sometimes. And so, like, you know, when I felt like things weren't good, the natural instinct for me was to cling to my mama. And that's why me and my mom is so tight to this day, because it was a lot of moments where it wasn't good. And so it's like, okay, I'm going to go to where it is good. And just being who she is, she's a nurturer, she's a carer, she's that person that loves. And so you just gravitate to that. And so I know for me, it's like whenever I didn't find that connection, I found it in other people. Like, for example, I know we're speaking on fathers, but like, for example, my brother, right now, there's some things going on with my brother, and we're not in the same space right now. However, I found brotherly figures that I connected to, that I found similarities into inside of them. And so it kind of just connected me to that, because it's like, you don't necessarily have that example of like, okay, this is what a Black father should look like, because that's not a Black father in my home. So I'm going to try to look to see, okay, that makes sense. So I'm gonna connect to that. And so, you know, you just kind of go based off your instinct and just what gravitates your heart to theirs, and you just kind of move accordingly. But like, it just depends on like the situation and like how you know, gravitate towards that person, depending on that type of bond or connection that you're longing for. And that's what my situation was. Like, things that I long for, I found in other people. And sometimes it might be good, sometimes it might be bad, but you just have to just go based off that, because you don't have that example in-house to look up at. So, yeah.
Oh. All right. Our next question is, oh, sorry, my bad. Wait, she gave you the mic.
You keep saying I keep taking. You saying I'm taking this one.
Make sure it's green. Okay.
Picking on what I don't really have a problem with my father being absent in my life, but my little brother does. And with him, like he's to the age where like he feel like the middle child is always problem child. I mean, he's not wrong, but I be trying to, cause I'm we close to age, so he don't really have like nobody he can really communicate with. Cause the relationship with my mom and his dad is not cordial. So since I'm close to age with him, I can see how he look at things, like how Adam was saying, the way your father have conversations with you, your mother can't. That's how you feel with my mom. Like she never want to hear what he says, so that's where I come in at with my little brother. So how he look at things, I look at it the same way. Cause yes, she may not want to hear what he got to say, but I will, cause I'm close to the age with him. So I just have that connection around him, show him how to be a young man and stuff like that.
All it takes is a positive mental influence sometimes, not even just a father.
I feel like for a girl, my dad's in and he has a car business right now. And I feel like for a girl, certain stuff like changing the tires, stuff like that, girls usually don't learn how to do that. My dad teaches me how to do certain stuff like that. So I feel like, as having an absent father in your life, I feel like girls, teach girls how to do other stuff that supposedly is a manly figure or something that a man's supposed to do. Like changing the tires, stuff like that, or the car breakdown, certain stuff in those areas, or in the house. Certain girls don't know how to do stuff. So I feel like, and in relationships, like, if you don't get the love from your father, you feel like you need to get it from somewhere else. And not saying that men will manipulate you, but if you don't have that type of love, then stuff can happen and you can get manipulated sometimes and stuff like that. So I feel like having a father figure, it allows you to do other things that's not just a man thing.
We got one down here too.
Like personally, I didn't have my father in my life all that much. But I didn't know growing up. I didn't know how to treat people, how to act as a man, and carry myself. So thank God for my mom. I love her so much. When she started introducing like figures into my life, the male mentors that I have to this day, like I picked up like as a young person, black person, like I'm picking up on things that they're doing. I'm trusting where I'm acting to fit like how they're acting, like how my role model is. So I feel like if you have an personal person growing up, even if you don't have a father whom you can look up to, it really helps you know how you should carry yourself, how you should act around people, and treat people that you want to be treated like.
Yeah, my mom definitely did the same thing. When I tell you, as soon as I turned 12, I was at every event in the city. I didn't have a break. She put me in the car sometimes. I would wake up 6 o'clock in the morning. She'd be like, "We going somewhere." I'm like, "Where are we going?" "Don't worry about it." And we get there. She said, "Get out." And she'd leave me there for like 3 hours. And I get back in the car, I'm like, I had fun. It was cool. I wish you would tell me where I was going, but it was cool. So your moms are definitely important, and they are 100% lifesavers.
For me, I feel like it has a subconscious anger to it. Let's say, in my family, bunch of Ross. I'm the only brothers that I'm aware of, other than my dad. I know my dad, met him. He got my number, everything. Don't call, don't visit, nothing. I say, so it almost has like a sense of almost anger. I say, because now I'm almost like, I want to do more. Hopefully one day if I do have kids, then I want to be a better father for them.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Me personally, I was raised by my grandmother, so old school. My grandmother, she was like my mom and dad. So my mama wasn't there either. She was the one who cut my hair, everything when I was in elementary, younger. So yeah.
That's important. Thank you guys. Thank you all for. We got one more.
Yeah, I like that.
But thank you all for sharing.
I know for me, my mom had me when she was 15, and so the whole support piece from a man's standpoint is super significant. And Ford, last name Ford, what's your last name?
Brothers.
Like Mr. Brothers mentioned earlier, the anger, yeah, I grew up very angry. And at the time I didn't know why, but as I became older or gotten older, I realized that I felt like something was missing. However, that's still not a reason to behave that way or act that way. But and like my man right here said, finding that safe space and mentors that can help support you, and I think that's key. And hopefully the males here have a ton of role models that they can go to Here at Andrews. Thank you.
Can I say something from a black mom perspective?
Yeah.
When I had boys, I wanted the American dream to have a husband, a family, and have it to be like the Huxtables from the Cosby Show was. And so in my head, I was like, I want the perfect family. I want it to be the American way and do it those ways. But then, life happened. So I ended up getting a divorce. And so when it fell apart, in my head was like, I want to pour into my boys to be the man that I would want for my family, So I was like, I want to teach my boys how to change tires. I'm going to teach my boys how to be men. I want them to know to treat women with dignity and respect, to make sure that they're opening doors, taking out the trash. And I was like, I'm going to build the little people that I would want for myself because I didn't have it. And so sometimes as a black mom, we step up and become the air quote dad that we want our kids to have because we don't have it for them. Because when we have kids, you don't necessarily I'm gonna have a kid and I don't want them to have a daddy. You want them to have a father and you want it to work out long term. But if it doesn't, me as a mom, I make sure that I pour into my kids for them to be the man that I want them to be so that they can be decent human beings.
Can I add something? I would say I come from the different type of family where they see boys, right? The boys that they build families, and then female are going to get married to other families, so they don't care about female, and then or they care about male because they build families because female are going away. So I would like parents to love both of the kids, like female and male, because there's always a purpose.
Yeah.
On that. Yeah. It really breaks my heart because they don't listen to me.
It's okay.
I feel like having a dad is important. I mean, my dad is in my life, but like, I was never as well, a little rocky with it. But because like my mom, I was never, she taught me like how to count change and all that. Like my daddy, he wasn't there and then, but it became, not like he came like we loved, but But now he teaches me like about cards, like check-ins, jobs and all that, like how to do a lawnmower and all that. My mom, she don't do outside, so she wouldn't even know about none of that. So if it wasn't for my dad, I wouldn't know how to do none of that. But like when Father's Day come around, I still celebrate both of them because like if it wasn't for her, then wouldn't know how to do none of that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, just like I did, that's what I said. My father taught me to do like everything, change a tire, ride the four-wheeler, have a garden, know how to garden, get all these, learning how to cook. My mother is here, but she goes away for trips for work all the time. So my dad has to play mother and dad sometimes, and he also works. He has a business on the side. So he does a lot. He also taught me that I don't need a man. I can want one, but I don't need one. And I know how to, I know how to do a deal. I know how to do this. I know what I want to be in life, and he's the one who pushes you. So I think as a female, definitely like you need your father or a father figure. You don't need a father in your house to say you have a father. You have your coaches, you have your brothers, you have your uncles to be able to say, hey, this is my father. This is who I would call if I need it and I'm in trouble. So to say that you don't have a father, even though someone's not in your life, like we have coaches, even like I know Coach Sharon, he's definitely a father figure for our girls basketball team. And he's a great one. So I feel like we don't have to always just have someone in our house to call him our dad. We can have anybody to call him our father.
Thank you all for sharing. I know you had something to say.
Yeah, speaking back to that, just because like, say for instance, you do have a father, that doesn't always necessarily mean that they're present, because I know in some situations, like people's dad can live in the same house as them and still not show them like the proper way to do things, or like, so definitely what Mr. Moore and everybody else was touching base on of seeing other figures outside of like just inside the household, because I know, like I said, there's many people whose parents are right next to them and still aren't showing them how they're supposed to do things as a young man and a young woman. And sometimes some parents have to play both positions, or, sometimes both parents might not help you at all. You have to look for a guidance in both of those aspects. And just being able to have like other adults around, whether it's like, even if you don't think people are like so much so there for you, just picking up after, say for instance, the principal here, he's not going to be here if he wasn't a gentleman or if he wasn't a proper male figure, because you have to do certain stuff to get where you are. So just looking at peers around you, whether like mainly successful ones, and successful as being, say for instance, a janitor, like even the littlest people have a major impact on how people can grow up and like present themselves as people.
Can I make a quick point real quick? Just to kind of recap this, for when he mentioned the anger that you get from not having a father, I just want to say, if you're in that situation, if your father is out of your life, or you have a father that you can't really look up to, don't let that anger you. If you have that anger, let it motivate you. It goes back to my point that when you don't have a father figure in a household of a Black son, he's 9 times more likely to go to prison. Don't be in that statistic. Use that as motivation and become a better man, and stop the cycle of absent fathers, because all it has to do is start with you, and then it goes on, and then we're building better families in our community.
Thank you. Again, I want to thank you all for sharing. Give yourselves a round of applause. You guys were kind of being weird to me and didn't want to say anything at first, but I'm glad I was able to get y'all out y'all shell, and y'all was able to add to the conversation. I really appreciate y'all. But we do have 3 minutes left. I want to say, this is the last thing I'm gonna say to the conversation. Find God. You know, I cannot say I would be where I am today without God. Saved my life. He did amazing things, continues to bless me, continues to do amazing things. So I would say, if you need anything, go to God. Go to God. I'd say that's the best way to end the conversation off. Go to God. Go to God. But again, this is Youthful Conversations. It's a podcast that provides a platform for young people to engage in thought-provoking conversations based on any kind of topic young people want to talk about. Nothing's off the table. I have 3 rules: no picking, no bullying, no cussing. I almost looked up on my own rules today. But we keep it accordingly. Thank you all for being in the audience. I do plan to come back, so I'm gonna work with Mr. Moore, Dr. Moore, to come back. Yeah, Dr. Moore. I'm gonna give him a new title, Dr. Moore. We're gonna give him a new title. I'm gonna work on him to come back because I do think this is impactful. Did you guys enjoy it?
Yes.
So if we come back, I'll make sure to let Mr. Moore let you guys know. But I want to thank my panelists for being up here, being honest, and sharing your guys' opinion. Thank you guys in the audience for chiming in after a while, sharing your insights and getting out your comfort zone and being willing to trust me and share whatever you wanted to share. I want to thank you guys. Thank you, Taji, for coming again on the podcast. It's your 2nd episode. We appreciate you. Again, thank you, Andrews High School, for providing us the location, platform, students to be able to have these amazing conversations in schools. And we will see you guys soon. But thank you all for coming. I got deep at the end.